Plaintiff Ronald Goforth is suing his former employee, William Wakeham, for an unpaid loan. Ronald says he hired the defendant after he was released from prison in an effort to give him a second chance. But William says although the plaintiff offered to help him out, he turned around and had William arrested. He's countersuing for a security deposit and lost wages.
All right, today we have the matter of Ronald Goforth and William Albert Wakeham. The plaintiff, Ronald, is suing the defendant, former employee, for an unpaid loan. The defendant is countersuing for a security deposit and lost wages. Ronald, why don't you tell me why we're here today?
Okay, we're here today. Basically, I own a sub shop, and I met Bill in a sub shop. At that time, Bill was under a state-run program for juveniles. He had been incarcerated for second-degree robbery and assault with a deadly weapon.
That's not true. I only have one charge of robbery, too.
You think that makes you look better?
Plaintiff Ronald Goforth is suing his former employee, 20-year-old William Wakeham, for an unpaid loan.
All right, Ronald.
We met in February of 2007. The manager said he was a good worker. He was moving back to our area of Washington, and he'd make a good employee. So I hired him.
You wanted to work with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really liked the guy.
You really liked him?
Yeah, he was a really good guy.
That's a good start. All right. What happened?
Well, basically what happened, I hired him in July of 2007. He did well. I hired him as a lead.
What's a lead?
Meaning that he would work the crew, the shift that he was on. He was in charge of the crew.
Good.
And what they do and see that stuff is done, prep is done, customers are taken care of.
So how long did he work for you before there was a problem?
About December, January.
Okay, what kind of problems?
He didn't show up for work.
What happened?
My friend lived with his grandma, and he went off the deep end with drugs. He stole some money from her. She found out, and he killed her. And I was really close to her. She was one of the closest things I had in my life at the time, besides this guy right here.
Why did he kill her?
Drugs, money. He was in trouble with the law.
He beat her to death?
Yeah, he killed her with a rock.
Is he in prison? With a rock?
Yeah. He's not in prison yet. He will be going there shortly.
He deserves to go to prison for that.
Yes.
So how does that affect your job with the plaintiff?
I needed 1 day off. I worked 7 days in a row. Pretty much the whole time I worked there. I barely had any time off. I worked overtime every week, every paycheck.
He was very happy with you. Wait a minute. Now you're shaking your head no?
Your Honor.
You said he was a great employee.
He was a great employee. Hey, I have no problem there, Your Honor. He was a great employee. Up to that time, he'd done a very fine job. The woman being killed happened a couple of months prior. The day that he sat down and talked to me prior for him not showing up to shift was because he told me that he had an outstanding warrant, and that outstanding warrant was for not paying for his incarceration as a juvenile.
Okay.
That did not make sense to me.
Why did that not make sense?
Because it just doesn't make sense. A state would come after somebody that was a juvenile to have them pay for his incarceration. So I went and looked it up to find out what it was for. The warrant was for driving without a license. He didn't show up the next day. Our standing policy is if you don't call in, don't show up, you don't work here anymore.
Did you call in ahead of time?
I called in. It was in the middle of January, and it was about half a month after she was killed.
Good, so we got that out of the way. All right.
Yeah, and the funeral, I was going to a funeral.
It wasn't a half a month later, that's for sure.
It was.
Half a month later?
Not the funeral, it was a service for her.
Are you going to a funeral or the service?
Yeah.
Is that why you're not going to work?
Yeah.
Or is it because you had a problem with the law?
No, that's not no, not at all.
He never spoke to me about a service. He never
Are you saying you spoke to him specifically?
Yes, I did.
Oh boy. All right. All right, let me ask you a question. When you called him and said, I got to go to this service for this woman who was like my own grandmother, who was a victim of a homicide by one of my best friends, what did he say?
He cussed me out and hung up the phone.
Is that how it happened? I'm not sure I believe you, William, but did you come back to work?
That same day, he called me up and told me not to come in, or for the rest of the week, they took me off the schedule. So I was like, I called in. I was pissed. I was like, no. He knows all this stuff's going on.
All right. When he didn't come to work that day and you say that he didn't call you, you say that you called him and told him not to come to work.
I did not call him. I couldn't get a hold of him half the time. From the time that he did not show up until the time I caught him in the apartment on March 11th.
What apartment?
The apartment that he rented from me.
Oh, you rented him an apartment too?
Yeah, I rented him an apartment also. His car broke down during this time. I offered to give him a loan to either fix his car or get another car. From that point, I watched him change. I saw some temper things going on. He evidently had a confrontation with a customer or one of the team members and proceeded to hit the walk-in door. I have pictures of the doors with...
Let's see it. Did you hit the door?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
I was just frustrated. It was all around the same time that all this was going on. I was extremely stressed out.
It's more than once. One,
Yeah, it's
two,
an elbow,
three,
actually.
4, 5, 6.
It's not, I wasn't hitting the door, I was elbowing the door.
Is that a metal door?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I saw all this change with Bill, and a lot of it came from the time that the woman was killed, the grandmother was killed. And I understand that, and I tried to work with him. I think I charged him half rent for a month until
All
he
right,
got
so
that.
you tried to work. He tried to work with you?
He did work with me, and
Okay.
we did a lot of praying together. We went to church. He helped me out that way, but he was destroying everything. He was taking all my money. He was taking
What do you
everything.
mean, as a
He's my
landlord?
landlord. He was.
Yeah, well, landlords do that. You live there and then you pay them.
Defendant William Wakeham says the plaintiff offered to help him after his release from prison, but he ended up having William arrested.
Are you not paying the rent now?
I was still paying rent. I was no longer living at the address because he kept coming in every day. He would show up unannounced, come
Why
in.
were you showing up?
I was trying to get a hold of Bill. The rent in March hadn't been paid.
Right.
The lease specifically says that the rent is paid with one check, one individual. I told I wanted both of them in front
That's
of me to
not
pay
true,
the
Your
rent.
Honor.
I have the lease here, and I'll be more than
Let's see
happy
the
to show
lease.
it.
Yeah, I only paid half the rent. We did not pay in one check. My roommate would pay
All right.
his money, and I would pay mine.
Did you pay a security deposit?
Yes.
How
It was,
much?
I believe it was $800.
Security deposit. Got it. $825. Okay, so he stops paying rent?
He paid rent in February.
Right.
He did not pay rent in March.
Did you pay rent in March?
No, Your Honor.
Are you living there in March?
No, Your Honor.
Did you give him notice you were moving?
No. I was still living there. Then. Yes,
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Thank you. Who are you?
This is Mike Dixon.
You're Mike. Let's get to Mike.
Mike saw me pay the car loan at church.
What car loan?
The car loan I received from him. The $2,000
That's why
car
I'm
loan.
here, Your Honor, is a car loan of $2,000, of which he made 2 payments.
And I have documentation showing that's false and that
Show me
are
your
way more than
documentation
that.
that says a car loan of $2,000 is false.
Thank you.
So you gave him a job, you gave him a car loan, you were his landlord, you gave him a place to live.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, you like this kid, huh? He's suing you for the security deposit and 3 days of lost wages. All right.
On those pages.
Ronald 640, Ronald 825, Ronald 175. So you're saying that you paid 640 for, is that half rent? or?
No, that was not half rent. That was all to the car loan.
All right, 640 for the car loan and 175.
Yeah.
It's not true, Your
That's what
Honor.
you paid.
No, I paid a $300 payment, cash payment at church. He was there. He was my witness for that.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. You're in a business relationship. He's your landlord. Why are you giving him cash? Why aren't you giving him a check and have it documented the way you have here?
I trusted him with everything.
Did he give you any cash?
He gave me cash once, $150.
So you deny the $300 cash payment
I
at church.
deny the $300 cash.
Were you alone when you did that?
No, I was with.
Step up. What's your name?
Mike Dixon,
All right, Mike, why are you here?
because I witnessed him pay the $300.
You tell me the circumstances.
We just went to church and we sat down next to him and I saw him pull out cash out of his pocket and hand it to him, and he told me it was for the car loan.
You're in church?
Yeah.
He's taking cash out of his pocket?
Yeah, we weren't actually, like, it wasn't in service yet. It was before.
Thank you.
So
I was going to say, I mean, you know, the tin cup's going by, he's paying his other debts. So how do you know it was 300?
It was $300.
No. How do you know it was 300?
that's what he said it was, so I believed him.
Sit down. All right, so you're trying to get your life together.
Yeah, he actually helped me find God. I looked up to him as a serious role model. I just got out of the institution. I wanted to make a change in my life, and this guy was there for me.
Plaintiff Ronald Goforth is suing his former employee, 20-year-old William Wakeham, for an unpaid loan.
You want to say anything else?
I do have records of the bills cleaning up their apartment, taking care of repairs, what he
Okay,
owed
show me the records.
Okay.
He's saying that he's got a security deposit of $700. He doesn't know it's $825.
That's all I want back.
Huh?
I know there are some cleaning things that, I didn't leave the apartment perfect. I know.
So you deducted $125.
Yeah, and there is no way that it was even $125 it costed him to clean the house.
But you're giving him what you think is fair.
Yes.
All right, what are these nails? What is
Those are things I pulled out of the wall, out of his bedroom and in the hallway.
Curly's lock and key? What'd you do? Change the lock?
I had to change the lock.
And you think that he should pay for that?
I think that he should.
Do you think you owe him any money?
I do owe him money. I paid $1,665 total. He gave me a $2,000 car loan, okay? So I do believe I owe him around $335.
And your evidence of that are the checks that you wrote.
Yes, Your Honor.
But if you paid him $640 for the car loan and
then
$175, hold on, that's $815, and then $150 that you admit to getting at church?
I received $300 from him total.
Well, already I've got two checks here. Would you show those to the plaintiff? $640 and $175. Did you get those checks?
I'm sure I did. I signed it on the back.
Obviously you did.
I'm sure I did. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that
Yes,
comes to
Your Honor.
$815 that he's paid you on the car loan.
Part of that was rent, Your
No,
Honor.
the rent is over here. Okay, you know what? I've got rent for $825 here. You say you only paid half?
Yeah,
of the
I paid
rent?
$425 for my half.
Half of $825 is not $425.
No,
Part of the problem is neither of you can add.
No, there was $825 was the total rent. My roommate
Yeah.
paid $400. I paid $425. I paid him $400 on that. If you add that together, it's $825.
You know what? The shame of this thing is that you started out doing a good thing for a
Okay.
kid who got himself in trouble. I'm very impressed with the fact that he's still grateful to you. The fact that you're in this room fighting about this ridiculous stuff, and if either of you had any accurate records, we wouldn't be here, but is a testament to the fact that you tried to help him and he's grateful. Maybe you can walk out of here after I issue my ruling and try to be at least cordial to each other.
Absolutely.
You owe him money. You know you owe him money. So this is my ruling. $885, interestingly enough, on behalf of of your former employer for the unpaid loan. That's what you're going to pay him. Now, you say that he owes you for lost wages for 3 days you didn't work. Hogwash. He doesn't owe you for anything for not working. That's your problem. Deal with it. The security deposit, as far as I'm concerned, of $825, I'm going to subtract $250 for that, and I'm going to award you a $575 security deposit back. That is my ruling.
Thank you, Your
So
Honor.
be it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ugh.